We're going to go ahead and get started. If you could please pull out a piece of paper, and if you don't have one, raise your hand. I brought some spares with me. We have a great panel of people here today. In my experiences, if I leave it to you to ask questions, you will chirp like, it'll turn into like quiet like crickets. So, 2 to 3 questions on this sheet that you would like to know about your academic major, your potential major. I know a lot of you are still undecided. What you think you might want to do while you're here. Questions that you may have for our illustrious panel. These people are the experts in your field in the building, so these are great people to talk to. Are we going to use experts in quotations? Experts. Could you all pass that down for me, please? Thank you. You need to write a couple questions down that we're going to ask them if you don't have a piece of paper. What? You need to write a couple questions down to ask the panel. I've just said that 3 times. Make sure you have your table. Yeah, here. Make sure you have your table tent, because that's how you get credit for being in class. And everybody, you have an academic advising folder from the university's advising office. Those are your flight plans. Somebody had a hand up over here. There you go, Lucy. Does everybody have a scrap? Who needs a scrap? Ah, no, got some in the back. All right, anybody else? Okay, so you have your flight plan information there. That is for academic advising purposes. I would recommend you start making your appointments now for academic advising. Even if you don't want to see the advisors until October, get your appointments now. You are required to have an advising appointment before you can register in November, and they will fill up fast. So if you are a first-year student, you are required to have one. If you're an upperclassman in this class, you are not required to. So just make sure all the first years. What ends up happening is I get lists as we get closer and closer to registration, and you get more and more emails from me saying, hey, you haven't had your advising appointment, or you didn't sign up for one, and you don't want to get more emails from me. And I promise you will not be getting as many emails from me as the semester goes on. There was a lot of questions last week, so I was trying to get all those out to you all. So, thank you to everyone. Oh, first, let me introduce you to Katie Tilton. I didn't introduce you guys last week to Katie. Katie is my TA for the class. So if I ever tell you to turn in something to Katie or check in with Katie, that's Katie. So Katie is a junior marketing major and has been this is the second year she's been helping me with this class. Thank you everybody for getting in your contracts in, even those of you who got multiple emails from me Friday saying, please turn it in so you're not late. So you won't get those reminders from me every time. I just really wanted to try to push you through the contracts. I'm surprised most of you chose to take all the classes. The vast majority of you are just going to go to all the classes. There's only one person in both classes who's not going to go to any more classes after next week. They picked all activities outside of class. And a lot of you all picked the November and classes and done. So we'll see how this all goes. And I'll see at the end of the semester, I'll be interested in hearing about your opinions on being able to pick what Camp 100 looked like for you. So, remember, you are responsible for your dates. I forgot is not a great excuse or not a great answer. So, you are responsible. You signed up for the contract. You picked your events. You picked your dates. You need to be responsible for those. If you don't have a planner, we've got lots of free ones down by the horse. Just take 2. Take one to grandma. You know, here's some U of L gear, grandma. Here's a free planner for the academic year. No, we really do. We have tons. Like, take some. 3.
Your business, mate. Take them and sell them.
Yeah. And then, yeah, so several of you have asked about the Elevate Portland orientation. It is almost finished. I have checked in with things today, and sorry, I'm writing something down while I remember it. And they said they've just got to get they've got to get some PowerPoint slides dropped into it. So I will post that to Blackboard, and I will send it out through the announcements like I have other things when those things are coming up. I will send you periodic emails through Blackboard about things that are going on in the university that may interest you. or maybe pertinent to the class, advising, things like that. Just so you know, flu shots are free on campus starting not next week, but the following week. Starting on the 21st, you are now communal living. That means communal germs. Get the flu shot. Like, there's nothing worse than being sick and you're like, you can't call mom. Or, you know, some of you can, and she'll come up here and come get you, but some of you can't. Just get the flu shot. Just, even if you're a weenie about needles, just get it. Like, it's just, you don't want to be sick in college, like, because then you're not going to doing fun stuff either, so. Okay, so last thing, for some of your classmates had to come in before Welcome Week and started this class earlier, and Dr. Stivers did a presentation with those students, and he is the associate dean who spoke last week about finance and investments, or 2 weeks ago about finance and investments and things like that. He got a handwritten thank you note from one of your classmates, and this has already left an impression. Handwritten notes are a lost art, but they make a phenomenal impression. So these are the kind of things that if you are going forward in your career and you want to make impressions on people, thank you notes to people who have done something very positive for you, write a letter of recommendation, taught you a particularly great class, helped you in a research project, came and spoke to an RSO you're involved with, things like that. Those go a long way in making you a memorable person and a memorable student. When you start going for job interviews, you really want, you know, even if it's going to be quick turnaround, even a quick email thank you note is not a bad thing, but those handwritten ones, it is a lost art and they go a long way. So, and already that's made a really favorable impression on an associate dean in the building. So these are the kind of things just keep in mind as you go forward as a person in the field of business. All right, so everybody wrote down a couple questions. I'd like for you to trade your sheet with somebody else. Trade again. Trade one more time. All right. So the reason I had you do that is because we historically, when I ask the students to ask questions to this panel, will hear crickets chirping. So I will give you the opportunity to ask questions. Yes? What? Okay, I'm not ready for you, Eric. So typically when I ask students to ask questions, I don't get any questions. And so if I ask for student questions and I don't get anything, I'll just come up to you individually. Years and years ago, there was a talk show host called Phil Donahue. And back in those days, talk show hosts actually went into the audience and asked questions. They didn't sit up at the top like Ellen does. So I will, you know, if I don't get any questions from the audience, I'll just walk around and ask you to read one off your sheet. And guess what? It's not your question, so you don't have to feel silly asking it. It's somebody else's silly question. So I'm going to have our, David, I'm going to give you this. Oh, it's not on. So there's one mic. I'm going to give our panel the mic. I'm going to have each of them introduce. These are all representatives from the different academic majors and minors represented in the College of Business. And I'm going to have each of them introduce themselves and their academic area.
I'm Christy Burge. I teach in the accounting department.
Is that the last word? I mean, accounting is it? No, they don't need to know about anything.
Yeah. The Christy Burge effect.
They have such misconceptions about accounting.
Not really.
If you notice, who's not dressed up? Right?
Tells you the
Sporting
respect they
the
have
collar
for the other.
shirt company shirt. You guys have heard that. I know Elizabeth prompted you guys on that. Yeah. No, accounting, as we know, is really the language of business. What I tell students, you can do anything with accounting in business. A lot of these folks don't even know this. Yes, I've been a CFO and I've done financial reporting and unfortunately have had to do taxes, which is I tell my students if I had to do taxes for a living, I would have changed my major. But I did cool stuff. I built warehouses. I'm a certified forklift driver. I have been in charge of facilities and built a 10-story building up in Indianapolis. I've written books. What else have I done? I'm a jack of all trades, a master of none. I've actually been in sales. I did corporate sales for 2 years.
So sell accounting, I mean, right?
I am. I just told them they can be employed and anything.
Yeah.
But on a serious note, really accounting, because business is tied to numbers, it's really the foundation. So you can do anything with it. I mean, I was a good corporate salesperson because I really understood the numbers and understood gross margin, and I could negotiate from a financial perspective. You know, having a building built, I had to work with contractors, and yeah, I had to know square feet and all that stuff. But once again, it's all about business, writing contracts, negotiating contracts, understanding the short-term and long-term expenses involved in projects like building a warehouse or a building. So I really think accounting is the best major you can have because it opens so many doors. I'm also, my background's in CIS, I'm a dual, back in the Stone Ages. So I've also had the responsibility of overseeing CIS and IT functions. And in today's world, as you well know, most of you don't write a manual check anymore. You do all your transactions through e-commerce. You know, doing a wire transfer, using your debit card, and all of that ties into accounting and systems. So I really think that accounting is a strong base, and you could add a lot of different minors to it. As I said, I kind of emphasize CIS because of where we're going with business and technology. But marketing minor is great because as I used to tell Buddy LaForge that was in marketing, accountants are the best salesmen in the world because we have to sell to the IRS and the SEC and to vendors and to customers, you know, the board of directors. We have a lot of people we have to speak with and communicate with. And that's probably the second thing I want to highlight is communication skills. I think most people think accountants, you know, the old bean counter scenario, sit in the back room and love the 10 key and calculator and crunching numbers. That's not what accountants do today. As I used to tell my staff, if you want to sit in your cube or in your office and crunch numbers, you're not going to be a good accountant because the business does not take place in your office and you have to understand what's going on in your operation to make sure you're capturing costs and things of that nature. In corporate America, most accountants are really internal consultants. We work with salespeople, we work with distribution people. So communication, both written and verbal, are very, very important. That's my sales pitch.
Okay, I'm PS for Adu. I just go by my initials, PS. Okay, and I'm in the marketing area. And I don't want to. You can ask me anything that you want to know, but I'll just tell you a couple of little things. My undergraduate degree is actually in engineering. So the thing, and what I wanted to emphasize here is that the nice thing about marketing is that it is really not too quantitative, it is at the same time not too subjective. So you can design your career whichever way you want to go. If you want to go in an area that is really analytical and research oriented, work with numbers, crunch numbers, you can do that in marketing. You want to go into an area that's much more subjective and much more into people and how they behave, is really what is the best suited to you. And that is very important. You might be somebody who's really motivated to be accounting, you're fascinated by just working with numbers day in and day out, whatever it is, and it's not just numbers, I don't want to make accounting be just numbers. But the thing is that whatever it is, look at the majors very carefully and see what is there in it for you. With respect to marketing, I'll say this, that I really encourage you to be more people
an outpatient basis, so you don't have to spend the night in the hospital. What does that mean for the healthcare market, and are these substitutes really substitutes for hospitals? Econ majors go on to do a lot of different things, like run for president. Apparently Donald Trump was an economics major.
No.
I probably should have
Fail
but I've only been here for, this is only my 4th year, but I've been very impressed with some of the econ, U of L grads who are econ majors who have come back and told me about what they're doing. So one is a VP at Humana and worked at Goldman Sachs in acquisitions and mergers for many years. Another is a pastor. Another, I just found out, is the owner of the wine shop down the street from me. He's a very successful businessman. But I think that really what economics has given to those people, and to me, is a way to think about answering questions and using tools like accounting and CIS and all these other tools we have to answer those questions. So I'm an applied microeconomist. I work with data all the time, which is part of why I like teaching business statistics. And I use all this broad range of data that we have available to us now to answer some of these important economic questions. I'll also just put out there that economics can be intimidating as a major. I actually wasn't an economics major. I didn't realize till the end of my junior year how much I liked economics and how much I liked the tools that economics gave me to think about problems. But we do have a minor in economics as well, and so if you're kind of on the fence about this, it takes the principles of micro and macroeconomics classes, which are all required to take anyway. Once you've taken those, you're a third of the way to the major, then you just have to take intermediate micro and macro, which I shouldn't put lightly because those are difficult classes, but then you can take 2 econ electives, and we have a lot of different kinds of electives: health economics, psych teach, law and economics, we have lending and banking classes, we have public finance, labor economics. We have a bunch of new courses this year that I can't even remember right now. So we have a few new faculty who are really, really great. So I think that's another thing that you can think about.
Can I ask you a question? That was an appropriate answer, but I'm going to ask it anyway. So, if finance is a subset of economics, does that mean the rest of us are subsets of economics? It's okay to say yes.
We're all disciplines, but I mean, finance is.
I got our own brown water right. Healthcare economics is a career because no one understands healthcare. Anyway, hi, I'm Tim Capps. I'm the director of the equine industry program here, and we are the only thing of our type in the world, actually. We're the only program that is industry specific for the horse industry in an accredited business college in the world. And to be candid about it, just so we don't have a lot of time to talk, we are the sexy major, okay? What we do, we teach you, and everything here is important, and I'll tell you why in a moment, but we teach you to gamble and drink and party and all the things that you came here to do in the first place. This is where you're supposed to laugh and nod and say, yeah.
It's okay. It's okay.
No, what actually, the truth is, what I have found is that most of you already have a lot of expertise in those areas, and we don't need to help you a lot. If you're from Kentucky, how many of you are from Kentucky? You can't help but know about the horse industry. It's thrown in your face all the time. There's Derby Day, and there's Oaks Day, and there's Keeneland, and there's all those miles and miles of fences in central Kentucky. What's the name of that town over there? Lexington? It's
Midway.
small
Midway.
village in central Kentucky.
For sales.
And the major is really a business major. The focus is on the business of that industry, which is worldwide. And bottom line, horses today, there are about 60 million in the world, are simply nothing more than 4-legged recreational vehicles with manes and tails and ears. So that's what it's driven by. That's what we're driven by. Our students graduate with in business administration with a concentration in our particular field. But I would tell you that we are all here to represent the business college and the various disciplines as they blend together, because I can tell literally working on Wall Street, not on the street itself, the office building. But did a little bit of everything in managerial roles, and I will tell you without question, I was a journalism major as an undergraduate back in the day when they called it journalism. And my graduate work was in finance. It seemed very disconnected. Everything I did, every one thing that's represented up here played a role. I needed to understand something about accounting. And by the way, other than textbooks, the most boring things in the world are financial statements. Is that correct?
That is fair.
It's fair. But they're right. I am a believer, strong believer in marketing. As an example, I think marketing is the thread that runs through every business and every organization, including nonprofits. We're all selling something in a market-based economy. If you don't understand basic economics, you're going to have a hard time in life. Computer sciences should be a no-brainer to understand that. But my chief advice to you today is to start your reading career. Okay? Every one of you probably have a smartphone. Even we have smartphones. Only Andrew knows how to use it, but we all have smartphones. And they're great devices. They're very convenient. Okay? They're wonderful. The problem is they're too convenient. And they make it easy for us not to read. Anybody remember reading? Was you ever taught that? Well, okay. So, and you're going to need to do that. Not just the textbooks with the assignments you're going to get, but just to learn about the world and learn about the world of business. And I brought props. Okay. Wall Street Journal is essential. Read it online if that's the best way to do it. You can ignore the editorial pages if you wish, but the coverage of the daily business activities, there's nobody out there that does it better. Barron's is basically an investor paper, same sort of thing, but they really are good at talking about the economics and the cycles and where we are right now. And the last one, and the thing you should read above all, take this to your grave, if you have this in your casket, is The Economist. English-based publication, the best business magazine in the world. It's a weekly. Go home and tell your mom and dad you want this for Christmas because it's a wonderful magazine, and it will keep you in touch with what's going on worldwide in economics and geopolitics. It's a wonderful magazine. So start your reading for it.
Tim, do you know if any of those offer like student
They all do.
rate?
Every one of them offers discounts to students. Each of them do, sometimes very deep discounts. I use them in the classroom some. I use the New York Times in the classroom, the business section of it also. But a lot of them are available online. Some of the stuff's available for free, but if you want the first subscription, you can get it, and they all offer student discounts.
You can also go to the library. They have a
Yes.
lot of those things in, so if you don't want to pay for it, you can, just,
But I would strongly encourage you to start doing that because that's how you learn about the world. That's how you learn about these disciplines and what goes on in them and who does what in them. They're absolutely vital things. So with that note, I will turn it over to Dr. Sutton, who's going to tell us the oldest human being in the universe.
You say wisest or oldest?
Wisest, that's what I meant.
Good morning.
Morning.
Could you do that if you're actually in this room? Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you. About 30 seconds about me and the rest will be about you. My name is Lyle Sussman. I'm the former chairman of the management department. My bachelor's and master's are from the University of Wisconsin. I owned hockey skates before I ever owned a basketball. And my PhD is from Purdue. I taught at University of Michigan, University of Pittsburgh, and I started here when PC stood for pencil and chalk. Now I want to find out something about you. There are basically three groups of people that I'm looking at, that we're all looking at. Some of you are here on scholarship. Some of you are here because someone else is picking up your ticket, being your parents or your grandparents or a rich uncle or aunt. And then there's a subset of you who are picking up this ticket by yourself, meaning you're paying all your own expenses through a job or you're picking up yourself. Would all of you who are paying for this yourself, in other words, you're not on scholarship and your parents aren't paying for this, would you please stand up? Okay, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 people in this room who have a vested interest in this panel up here far greater than everyone sitting down. Everyone sitting down, by the way, thank you for being here, but you're here partially on someone else's ticket. Everyone standing up right now is here, and they're making a personal investment, either because they're paying for it themselves, or they're working full-time. They're taking a greater risk in picking their majors than you are, which is not to say that you're not taking a risk. But you people are involved in this program. The people standing up are committed to this program. My first advice to everyone sitting down is look around at the people standing up and make friends with these people. And I'd like everyone sitting down to give these people a hand. Thank you. They should be. I'm very impressed. I want to begin, when I talk about the Department of Management and why I firmly believe you ought to look at a management minor as a necessity before you leave here. How many of you are working at least part-time outside U of L? Please raise your hands high. Okay, I don't know where you work, but I'm willing to bet my pension plan that I can describe at least one item on all of the mission statements of your companies. So I don't know where you work, but I'm willing to bet my pension plan that has a few digits in it that I can describe at least one item on all of your mission statement. And it's this: people are our most important resource. Now, where do you learn how to make people your most important resource? In some respects, all of my colleagues will talk about communication of people and teamwork and the ability to work together. My colleagues in my department actually take you through a curriculum where you develop those skills. Yes, we work on the basis of economics and finance and accounting and CIS and entrepreneurship and finance. But the truth of the matter is, you're not going to get a job as a night watchman in a cave. You're going to work with people. And some of you have a skill where you don't need any tutoring whatsoever. Some of you will light up a room just by walking into it. Unfortunately, some of you will light it up by walking out of it. For those of you who light up a room by walking out of it, you need the management minor. You need to be able to tell someone during the interview, I'm here, I'm special, you're making a mistake if you don't hire me. Let me repeat that again. At some point, some employer is going to decide whether or not to invest 5 figures in hiring you, okay? And you're going to be competing against other people. You're going to be competing against graduates from UK, graduates from Bellarmine. By the way, let's move beyond Kentucky. You're going to be competing, if you're going to work for a Fortune 500 company, you're going to be competing against graduates from Duke, from Stanford, from Carnegie Mellon, from Wisconsin, from Michigan, from Ohio State, and 2,000 other schools. What's going to set you apart are not the technical skills, because all of your colleagues and peers from those schools will have those same skills. What will set you apart is the ability to communicate to a recruiter that you can work with people, that you can solve problems, that you are a team player, that you're a critical thinker. Bottom line, that's the management minor. Good morning.
I like what he said about his pension plan. I don't share that. Mine has decimals instead of.
I'm Bobby Garrett. I'm a little bit under the weather today, so my voice isn't clear. I apologize. I'm the coordinator for the undergraduate entrepreneurship minor. And unlike the other professors who have to dispel myths about sitting in cubicles, everybody already understands that all entrepreneurs look exactly like Sir Richard Branson. He's the popular entrepreneurs. No, the truth is, entrepreneurs work as hard as anybody else. In fact, they can choose any 100 hours a week they want to work. They'll be sleeping under their desk, eating pork and beans out of a can. It's a hard life, right? But entrepreneurs are the independent agents of change who take the risk for themselves and start their own business. In the entrepreneurship program, we understand that there's really 2 classes of students. Those students who will go out and create their own jobs. Those are most classically defined as entrepreneurs. And students who will be job consumers, right? Or perhaps looking to take a job that already exists. And just by show of hands, don't be shy. How many of you intend to get a job when you graduate? You're looking to be employed. Right, I mean, that's why you're in the business school, right? So you can go get a job. All right, so why would you be interested in an entrepreneurship minor if you're gonna go be a job consumer and not a job creator? This is a difficult question we deal with. And the people who trained me to be a professor of entrepreneurship were asking me this question 10 years ago. The idea is that in today's increasingly dynamic, globally competitive environment, you should have the forethought to understand that these businesses need entrepreneurs within the company. Right? All these businesses need dynamic problem solvers, creators, innovators. And without those people in their company, those companies will die. Right? It's been classically called innovate or die for these companies. So, even if you don't intend to be an independent entrepreneur when you leave the University of Louisville, which we will train you to be if that's what you choose to do, consider a minor in entrepreneurship so you can be that person who can tell to your job interviewer, I did this because I understand what it takes to be successful in a corporate environment. Thanks.
Well, good morning. I'm David Dabowski. I'm in the finance department. And with my accent, born and raised in Brooklyn. And when I was your age, I knew nothing about finance whatsoever. I didn't become interested in finance until I was already out working in the real world. Finance is all about raising and using money. Corporations have to raise money. They have to use money. They have to decide how to invest it. People have money to invest. They have to decide how to invest it. What securities, what markets, what asset classes should they invest in? Coming in today, the stock market was down 200 points. What does that mean? What does that mean for a business? What does that mean for you as an investor? That's basically what finance is all about. You have to be comfortable with numbers. I'm not talking about calculus or rocket science. You have to be good at algebra. If you feel comfortable with numbers, you like numbers, then finance is certainly going to be a good major for you. I take issue with my colleague here, Tim, who said that financial statements are the most boring things around. To me, a financial statement is like a racing form. You go to the racetrack, you get a racing form, it's full of numbers, you've got to decide what horse are you going to bet on. You need a bunch of financial statements, let me go through all this data, and I can make a bet on a stock. Sometimes the horse will win, sometimes the horse will lose. Sometimes you make a bet on a stock, you make money, sometimes you lose money. But I know you all have a lot of questions, and we are running out of time, so I'll let you ask questions. Oh, one other thing. If you have the slightest interest about finance, consider joining the FMA Society, the finance club here. You know, every other week they have someone in from the finance field who's going to come in and talk about their jobs. So if you have the slightest interest about finance, thinking about finance, join the finance club.
I'll make two quick plugs from the podium real quick. Paige is from the Ulmer Center. She works with students in their internship placements and co-op placements. CIS is the only major that it is required for your degree, although all majors should consider it because it is a great way to find what you like and don't like in your field. So you must, finance, accounting, marketing, CIS, have to get through the 300, 301 of their major. Econ have to get through 301?
Econ's 201, 202. CIS is 199 and 300. Equine is 102 and 201, I think? 202? Okay. And then you can also get academic credit within an econ minor and a management minor.
And another minor that we have, and it kind of funnels through my office, the international business minor. So I'll take what Dr. Sussman said and take it to another level. I don't think you're competing within the United States for your positions anymore. I think if you are looking big-time corporations, especially in the tech fields, I think you're competing internationally now. And that's where that international business minor comes in terms of it gives you the opportunity, you do a language study, you do international business study, and you are required to study abroad as part of that minor. And I think that is a really relevant part of your curriculum and as your generation moves forward and our global economy and our global businesses become more codependent on one another. So, all right, so I will, okay, Eric, I'll let you go first. You beat Elliot. Laurel and Hardy up there, guys.
My name is Eric Campbell, and I'm a CIS major, and I have a question. How early can you start letting your money work for you, as in investments, and the second part of the question is $500 a good starting amount?
As the finance person, no, $500 is too little. Secondly, if you have debt, if you borrowed money, a student came to me yesterday, I teach investments, and was thinking about putting money into the stock market, and I asked him, you in debt, you have student loans, and he said yes, and I said, pay off your student loans first. I assume that your student loans are, accruing interest at 6, 7, 8%, and in today's market, you shouldn't be investing. But when you have a couple of $1,000, $2,000, then yes, start looking to invest. There has never been, never in this country, a 30-year period, and you certainly have a 30-year horizon in front of you, but you've never had a 30-year period in this country where stocks did not outperform every other investment. So as youngsters, if you have a couple of $1,000 hanging around, I urge you, open up a Fidelity account or a Vanguard account and start investing now as early as possible. And I can almost guarantee you that when you get to be our age, with the exception that you did that, then you will be very, very happy that you invested in the stock market.
Andres, he yell it.
My name is Andres Barrio, and I'm an accounting major. My question is, how can I reach back and/or improve my community by being an accountant?
Oh, that's right up my alley, because I do a lot of social work out there for non-for-profits. Actually, there's a lot of opportunities, because number one, I look at all of you, just not accounting majors. Social responsibility, if you go to any organization's website, it highlights what they do in the community. GE, Humana, mid-sized companies, I mean, you drive by the roads and there's signs of who's picking up trash. It is what you all need to get involved in. Because, number one, there's non-for-profits that need good financial accountants. Like the CFO at United Way here in Louisville, he was one of the basketball players at U of L, played in the NBA for a couple of years, so he blew out his knee, and now he worked in public accounting for one of the big four for about 6, 7 years, and now he's the CFO of United Way here. Still. But as an accountant, we can help a lot of non-for-profits because they don't have a lot of financial expertise. They can't afford it sometimes. So getting on boards and helping is definitely a plus. And I'm going to trump my card shirt company. This is for all majors. Basically here in the school, we run a business. So I'm looking for all majors. And one of the things we do is we believe the money that we make off these shirts, basically I give back in scholarships to you all. But I also tell my students, our motto and our mission is students helping students. And we've taken that to philanthropy, like with Portland. Like we've donated dollars and time to the Portland Elevate. In the past, we've been also partnered with Coleman, Susan G. Coleman. Because I believe that everyone needs to give back. It's not about money. The most precious thing any of us have is time. Because once it's gone forever. So I think being an accountant or being any major, you should get back to your community. And a lot of them, actually when I was a couple minutes late coming, was I had a non-for-profit call me because they need somebody to come in and audit their books, and they can't afford someone. So I'm getting a group of students together, and it's a learning opportunity.
My name's Elliot Kelly. I'm also an accounting major. My question is also for you, Professor Barris. I was going to ask, because I want to be a forensic accountant, so I was looking into the different requirements and things like that. I saw that there's a certified fraud examiner, like you can become a certified fraud examiner. So would you recommend that route, or should I still attend because I want to get my CFE, but also should I still take my CPA exam and get that certification?
CPA is kind of the underlying that you know everything about accounting. And And then you can get all types of alphabet soup to specialize. Like, I'll be sending out notes through Elizabeth that in November, I have a group of professionals coming in for CISA, that's the accounting IT people that like to deal with fraud and security and internal controls, and also CIA, which is internal audit. Forensic is another avenue. There's all types, CMA, you can get all types of alphabet soup based on where you want to specialize. But as I tell people, the CPA alphabet soup is a standard accreditation that everybody knows that, quote, you are an accounting expert.
The CPA requires 150.
The CPA in Kentucky, now if you live like in Ohio, as I tell people, you gotta do your homework. Here in Kentucky, you can take the exam right after you get done with your accounting bachelor's. You have to have 150 hours to hang the plaque on the wall in your alphabet soup behind your name. Okay? And you have to have so many work hours to be able to put the plaque on the wall.
If you're thinking about CPA, minoring in something helps you get those hours and.
Yeah, I'll trump on all of these minors. I respect everyone on this panel because, like I said, accountants, I work with all of these majors. And with a minor, you're coming pretty close. Most of you, how many came in with AP credit hours? Yeah, so you got a good jump on those 150 hours. And the nice thing in Kentucky is once you get your core accounting classes, those 150 hours can be in anything. So you can pick up minors and count for the 150 hours. And to me, I recommend students to do that because it makes you more marketable.
David.
I'm David Bradshaw, accounting major also. I had a question in contrasting the difference in opportunity of having a dual major accounting CIS, and there's also a major here of accounting track and information security, or an accounting major with CIS minor. There's a difference in opportunity
Okay, I do a major, and I'll be real honest, and I think Andrew would agree with me. It is extremely tough to double major in accounting and finance, just because of the course load and the time commitment of our classes. I mean, no offense, guys, but these are probably the two of the toughest demanding majors as far as time commitment in the classroom and out of the classroom to learn the information.
Yes.
Well, accounting too. We got a lot of projects and research projects.
So accounting and finance, but
Yeah.
accounting CIS.
CIS, yeah.
Accounting is just tough.
It's tough. So I always tell my accounting majors that if you want to strengthen yourself, IT is the way to go because, number one, a lot of CFOs where I was, even though I have the IT background, they're having to oversee the IT function because data is an asset. And for most companies today, it's the most valuable asset. It has to be protected. I mean, from a liability standpoint with HIPAA laws and things like that and protecting, you hear in the news almost every hour about a company getting hacked and personal information and
There is a tremendous synergy between those areas. And the CIS is an excellent time for anyone to take because the world in which you're going to be taking jobs and creating jobs is the digital world. And CIS gives you the ability to kind of speak and live and breathe that new 21st century mindset. But there is a tremendous amount of synergy between accounting and CIS as a major-minor combination and the concentration area in information security.
especially if you're interested in what you were talking about, forensic or audit, because that's, I talk about IT audit, and a lot of the big four would refer to it as risk assurance. That's where you make the bucks. You get to a manager in a big four and have that CISA behind your, along with your CPA, and basically you go to corporate America and they pretty much give you a blank check and say how much will it take for you to leave. because it is such a high demand.
You're gonna do audits, but where is the information that you're auditing these days? It's in an information system. If you're looking for fraud, it's gonna be because, well, someone like me has access to them and the data. You have to be able to protect that.
Okay, let's ask questions. Has anybody got a question here? Savannah?
Hi, my name's Savannah, and I'm a marketing major, and I wanted to know if I was to study abroad, when and where is the best time and place?
That's me.
That question should go to Elizabeth. But
So-
I'll tell you in general, we support study abroad, and you should definitely consider doing that. Because I think that in more ways than one, it'll reinforce your marketing curriculum. One of the things that I do suggest, and Elizabeth knows this, is that when you take courses abroad, I recommend taking electives abroad. Okay, don't go for your required courses and things like that, especially the higher level courses. I think the 301 might be okay, but then if you're going to really do a required course, the higher level courses, the courses here are set up a certain way, especially as you get to the capstone. So I'm always a little bit hesitant to prove like someone doing marketing research, which is 441 or something like that abroad, because we set up our course up here so that when you go into the capstone, you have what you need in the capstone. If you take it someplace else, and there's so many countries with different kinds of courses, I don't know. Some of these course outlines don't tell me for certain whether they cover the software that you need, like an SPSS or whatever, and exactly how they do it, how the textbooks are different and so forth. So my general recommendation would be that, electives, you have no problems. You have in fact, some of the electives that we are not able to offer here, if you do find it elsewhere, it's very good, you take that over there. But don't take it as substitute for, and also I would say, study abroad, question what your objectives are in taking study abroad. Definitely to enrich your experience and your curriculum, I strongly recommend it. But if you're trying to find an easy way out, of course, it's very difficult. I know the professors could come, let me find it easier. No, I don't, because it's set up for a certain reason over here. And you have to monitor that, what is covered in the required courses, and so on. You try to cover what is needed in the capstone and so forth. So that's my general recommendation. But Elizabeth will give you more details and help you select appropriate courses.
October 7th is the class we're doing study abroad panel, and I will have former students who have participated, students who are currently in the building but have already participated in study abroad as your Q&A panel that day. So we'll get into more information about it at that time.
I would like to say that for accounting majors, our profession is a little unique because of busy season with audit and tax. Spring is the busy time. And most of the big employers, the big accounting firms, want you to take a semester off and work for them full-time in your spring of your junior year. So if you're planning internationally trips,
Every student who comes through my office, I do an academic plan with. I pull your academic sheet from your advisor. I get, and I look, so like if you want to do the semester off, I'll show you when you can fit in if you want to do a semester abroad, or I will show you if it's in your best interest to do a summer instead. So we'll talk about that. Okay, behind Savannah. Yeah, you.
My name's Sarah Esmond, I'm also a marketing major. I'm just wondering, if I want to go into sales, how beneficial would it be for me to have a minor in communications?
Very beneficial. I think what for sales, if you do, now in marketing, we don't specifically have tracks in marketing. Our approach is to offer a lot of electives and let you pick and choose the electives that will help you design your courses for a particular career. And we try to give you as much flexibility as possible, and we try to offer as many electives as possible. In sales, we have a required course in sales, which is Marketing 360. Okay, that's professional relationship selling. And then going beyond that, we have 2 electives that I strongly recommend taking in sales. And then the rest of the courses, there are marketing courses that go very well with the sales track. Okay, and there are And then there are courses like communications outside the college that will help you also. So definitely something like a communications minor with a marketing major and take all those sales courses and other courses. Like definitely if you're in sales, something like social media or business to business, marketing and so forth will definitely help you. And these are like other electives that are offered in marketing. So definitely the required sales course and the 2 electives in sales, and then follow it up with other courses in marketing, in the business area, and outside of business. But to get to your question, communications definitely is a very important part for sales campuses.
In the back.
My name is David Kerman. I'm an accounting major. In a competitive job market, how important is learning like a second language, such as Spanish, and how does that set you apart?
We're a global world, and I am a big advocate of traveling abroad, learning multiple languages, because if you think of Fortune 500 companies, they're not just in the United States. They have offices everywhere. And that's just going to give you more career opportunities to move to different areas within the organization by having that skill set.
I would also add to that, particularly for those of you who are going into tech, and tech is really going to be a big part of all of your all's careers in the future. Look where tech is stemming from, and who is buying up all the tech, and who is buying up all the companies right now. And be very cognizant, while it is flashy to go to Europe, not everything is coming out of Europe anymore. So be cognizant when you make those decisions, especially when you're learning language. I will also add that the #1 language spoken in, I will ask you this on October 7th, the #1 language spoken in the United States is Spanish now. So when you think about, there are cities in this country where you will not get a job interview if you're not bilingual. I used to live in Chicago, and there are whole industries that you need to be bilingual because your industry is bilingual.
Just to reiterate that, Austin's the fastest growing city in the United States. And they require pretty much everyone to be bilingual in that city.
And about 10 years ago, Austin and Louisville, 10, 15 years ago, Austin and Louisville were the same size. So, okay, I have a question here. Emma?
Hi, I'm Emma. And I'm currently double majoring in marketing and economics. And I want to know if that would be a good track to follow down to make me marketable in order to get into advertising.
Advertising specifically?
Yes.
Okay. That's not a traditional combination for advertising, let me say that. But it's not to say that that will not be useful. Probably it will depend on the advertising is a very broad area. So it will depend. Generally, if you're looking for advertising specifically, then people look for communication, psychology, things like that. That's more traditional, but that doesn't mean what you're doing is wrong. Ultimately, like I said earlier, you have to go with what excites you. If economics really excites you, you can find, you can make it go together, and you can find opportunities where that will work right. So I'm definitely, what I'm saying is that I'm not saying that that's not going to work for you, that's not a good combination. I'm just saying that that's not a traditional combination for somebody going into, say, advertising or PR and things like that. That's not, but I'd let Beth also address that.
Well, I would argue that's going to set you apart, and I think that's becoming, that type of combination is becoming more in demand because of, we talk a lot about how important data is. Advertising is a great example of how important data can be, and having the tools to think about how to use that is really important. Being able to use it and being able to think about that. And I think one thing that that economics will help you to do is think about questions like, well, how will people respond to an ad? How will people respond to if you change prices? And I think that's something that employers, it'll make you stick out, and I think it's something that's really valuable for employers now.
Eric?
I have two kind of separate questions. For the CIS major, is there any kind of like study with like Bitcoin mining, or is that kind of something that's no further?
The idea of what Bitcoin represents, which is the digital currency, cryptocurrency, we address the topic in the context of information security and cryptography, but it's not a core element of what I was focusing on. But I always have students that pick that kind of topic area. It has gotten some significant negative press of late, maybe not the best place to invest. You're looking at money quickly. Mining in particular, it's become a really hard game. The math is not helping as the competition is becoming more and more complex. It takes a whole lot of specific hardware, custom design chips, for buying into cloud, unfortunately, to do Bitcoin mining. I don't think it's the best way to put your money into action.
That's a good question, though, because I just bought a book a couple of weeks ago by a Nobel Prize winning economist who's talking about the future of money. And his thinking is that we will get away from becoming a cashless society sooner than we think we will. So it's a big picture question. That's a macroeconomic question. I don't put you on the spot really. But a good thing to think about.
The other half of the question.
That's typical accounting majors. They're fighting already.
With the finance, the steps to become a millionaire, I understand that it's, taking off all your debt and building wealth, but is the building wealth part just with investing, or is it just, what I'm saying, like job included and then investing on top of that?
I'm not sure you want to become a millionaire. Start saving early.
Don't get a credit card.
There's a risk return association, and you have to take risks, of course. Investment in the stock market is risky. The stocks do go down. I urge you to save as much as you can early. The magic of compounding is amazing. Over, you make 5-10% over 20, 30, 40 years, and before you know it, you're a millionaire. It's an amazing process. I think Warren Buffett said it's one of the great miracles of the world, compounding. Compounding means interest earns interest, so it just keeps on building and building. You start with $100, you make 5%, you have $105. Then your $105 makes a return, and then you have $112, and then $112, the extra interest keeps on growing. And over 30 or 40 years, that's truly a miracle.
I think to tap onto yours question here, a lot of executives, where their wealth is when you hear that they're millionaires, it's through stock options. And that comes part of the job. And then they're investing the extra money they have too, so it's like double dipping.
You go to work for a company and they offer, different types of retirement plans where you contribute and they match. That's 100% rate of return right there. Maximize that. Put as much as you can into those retirement plans.
I'm going to let Tiara go. She hasn't asked one yet. Now.
As I told, how many of you have a credit card? Good. This is where you have to be financially astute. Talking about not having currency, I'm lucky to have $20 ever on me because I just don't use it. Number one, I don't make it to the bank. I get paid by U of L. They send my paycheck to the bank, so I don't have time to get to the bank. Don't want to use the ATM, don't want to pay the fees. I'm cheap, I don't account. But I like to use other people's money, and that's what credit is. But the key is you got to discipline yourself. Like I charge my expenses, but I pay my bill off every month. So I've gotten 30 days use of somebody else's money, which is great. And that's how you build your credit. You do not have to go out and take out a $1,000 credit card. Like, I have two daughters, and when they started college, I got them a credit card, and I put a $250 limit on it. And Casey would use it to buy her gas and pay it off as a month. And she just bought her first home. She graduated in June, and she has her credit score is one of the highest I've seen. And that was her only utilization, was that. So I think everyone needs to have a credit card and start using it. I know you get slammed with them as college students, applications. The other thing is you earn points, so I get free gift cards for gifts and stuff with my points. But you have to be disciplined when you get credit. And talking about student loans, I preach on this in my class. You have to discipline yourself today. And I know it's really easy. Financial aid just kind of hands a lot of cash your way. You have to discipline yourself and say, do I really need to be living at that level, or can I live a little lower so I don't have, an additional $20,000 of student loans when I'm done with my degree?
Yeah, I just want to say something. I want to reinforce that in the sense that people traditionally think of making money as different from what the lifestyle is. In other words, how can I make money? What is my income? How do I invest it? So those questions I think are really different from what is your lifestyle, what is your way of thinking, how do you make your decisions, and things like that. What I want to say is that those core criteria is with your lifestyle, the way you make each and every decision in your life. And what I say in my class, I use consumer behavior, by the way. And one of the things that I tell my students is think about every decision you make. Okay, whether you really need that product, whether you need to spend that much money on that product, what is the best way, where is the best place that you can buy, how can you save money on this, and so on and so forth. Okay, so what are all your priorities in terms of where you're spending your money? Take a look at that. It's not just for making money, it's also where you're putting your money, where you're spending your money. So you have to look at both where it's coming in, where it's going out. Okay, so look at both sides very carefully.
All right. Guys, it's 12:15. You're cut off. Okay. Your folders have information about flight plan and registration. You need to get an advising appointment if you are a first-year student. Your question is, what today was helpful in helping you determine things about your major and your career? There's a plastic bin over here. There's a cardboard box over there. Drop your table tent in there on your way to go. Have a fantastic weekend. Go Cards.